Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Monday, February 27th, 2023 council meeting. This evening, we are not going into closed, so the recommendation is that before we read the recommendation, I just wanted to highlight that due to the inclement weather, some members of council and staff are joining us electronically. So thank you for those of us who have joined in person and those that are virtually with us. Okay, now to the recommendation is that council convenes an open session at 7 p.m. May I please have a mover? Moved by Councillor Sadhu, seconded by Councillor Cressman. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. For a moment of reflection, I wanted to recognize all of those in the community, including members of Wilmot Council and Township staff who participated in the coldest night of the year this past Saturday. Through an event led by the Wilmot Family Resource Centre, the Wilmot community joined thousands of Canadians across the country walking and fundraising to support and serve people and families experiencing homelessness, hurt, and hunger. While the past few years have brought a series of challenges to the Wilmot community, we continue to come together and support one another. This year's event had 138 walkers on 22 teams and a goal of raising $30,000. As of this morning, donations were at 96% of the target, but there's still time to donate to this worthy cause. You can visit cnoy.org/Wilmot and donate if you would like to today. On to the territorial land acknowledgement. I'll be reading that this evening. We have gathered in Wilmot Township on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga peoples. We also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with One Spoon Covenant, a peace agreement made between Indigenous nations before the Europeans arrived. It characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and Mother Earth. We should take only what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish clean. By acknowledging this covenant and the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community. Does anybody have any disclosures of pecuniary interest to declare? Councillor Wilkinson? Yes,
I'm disclosing an indirect pecuniary interest related to agenda item number 11.2, report COR-2023-19 in regards to the Strategic Priorities Infrastructure Fund. My wife is a member of the body that is directly benefiting from this. So I will ask that we please remove that from the consent agenda to vote separately and go forward from there.
Great, thank you very much. There are no additions to this evening's agenda, so the recommendation is that the agenda as presented for February 27th, 2023 be adopted. May I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Cressman. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. And the recommendation is that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as presented. Special Council February 9th, 2023 and Regular Council February 13th, 2023. May I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Cressman, seconded by Councillor Martin. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. We have no public meetings or presentations this evening, so now we will move on to the consent agenda. Just before we do that, I'm going to quickly consult with my clerk on how to take out the item for Councillor Wilson. Okay, so the recommendation is going to be that for consent agenda item 11.1, which is the Integrity Commissioner Annual Report, be approved. May I have a mover for that? Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Wilkinson. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. And now we will vote on the consent agenda item 11.2, of which Councillor Wilkinson will not be participating. May I please have a mover? Moved by Councillor Sadhu, seconded by Councillor Martin. All those in favor? And that also passes unanimously. Great. Jumping into reports, we have item 12.1, Committee Governance Policy. And the recommendation is that the report COR 2023-07 regarding a committee governance policy be received, and that Council adopts the committee governance policy as presented in attached A, and that the following committee terms of reference be adopted: Castle Kilbride and Heritage Advisory Committee in attachment B, Dangerous Dog Designation Appeals Committee in attachment C, and Property Standards Appeals Committee attachment D. And that all prior corporate policies and committee terms of reference inconsistent with the committee governance policy and terms of reference attached to report COR 2023-7, namely corporate policy CL-01.7, Castle Kilbride Advisory Committee, CL-05.2, Property Standards Committee, CL-05.4, Heritage Wilmot Committee, and CL-05.5 Dog Designation Appeals Committee be repealed, and that staff be directed to commence recruitment for the committees highlighted in report COR 2023-07 in accordance with the committee governance policy, and further, that the ad hoc budget committee be renamed to the Finance and Budget Committee. To get this on the floor, may I please have a mover? Moved by Councillor Sadhu, seconded by Councillor Wilkinson. I will now call on the Manager of Legislative Services and Clerk, Jeff Bunn, to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Salonen. The committee governance policy before you today, Council, is a result of a comprehensive review of the Township's overall committee structure. This report follows a CAO report that came in November of 2022, whereby Council suspended all of the advisory committees pending review of committees by Council by the incoming term, and the adoption of a revised committee appointment policy. It's generally considered a municipal best practice that new terms of Council review the overall committee structure and governance to ensure that there is an appropriate alignment with the strategic goals of that term of Council. This report and policy and revised terms of reference provides clarity, openness, and transparency to the governance of committees of Council, and I'm happy to answer any questions that Council may have.
And councillors, are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, I will call the vote. All of those in favor? And that passes unanimously. Now on to report 12.2, the Snyder's AgCom Drain, Ministry of Transportation Legal Agreement and Permit IS-2023-05. The recommendation is that Council authorize CAO, Director of Infrastructure Services, or their delegate to negotiate and enter into a legal agreement with the Ministry of Transportation for permits as required on the Snyder's AgCom Municipal Drain. To get this on the floor, may I please have a mover? Moved by Councillor Cressman, seconded by Councillor Wilkinson. I'll now call on Director of Infrastructure Services, Jeff Mollenhurst, to introduce the report.
Thank you, Mayor. This report requests authority to execute a legal agreement with the Ministry of Transportation for construction work permits in support of the Snyder AgCom drain within the highway corridor. It is a fairly straightforward report. I don't feel I need to go into too much more detail, but we did ask for the authority to negotiate some terms of the agreement just in relation to specific construction aspects. These are typically fairly straightforward types of agreements, and so Council should have confidence that staff are well suited to undertake that negotiating, and certainly the signing authority, provided that there's support for that tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Any questions, councillors? Okay, seeing none, I will call the vote. All of those in favor? And that also passes unanimously. This evening we have no correspondence, bylaws, or notice of motions. I will hop into announcements. The Wilmot staff are conducting a survey to better understand the recreation and leisure activity needs of the community. The information gathered will help us develop and support social and recreational opportunities for the township. Could you please have your say by completing the online survey at wilmot.ca/recreation survey. The survey does close tomorrow, February 28th at 4:30 p.m. If you do have any issues finding that online, please do feel free to reach out to staff and they can direct you there as well. And one other item that I wanted to mention is that Councillor Sadhu and I are doing the Waterloo Regional Police Polar Plunge for Special Olympics this Saturday. So if you happen to have time on the weekend and want to watch us jump into a very cold pool of water over at the Children's Safety Village or sponsor us, all the proceeds are going towards the Special Olympics. Councillors, do any of you have announcements to make this evening? No? Okay. Seeing none, there is no business from closed as we didn't have a closed session. The confirmatory bylaw, as attached to this agenda, should be read for a first, second, and third time and finally passed in open council. To get that on the floor, may I please have a mover? Moved by Councillor Sadhu, seconded by Councillor Cressman. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. On to our favorite part, the adjournment. May I please have a mover to adjourn this evening's meeting? Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Cressman. All those in favor? And that's meeting adjourned.